بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألف لام ميم ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين.
Interpretation of the Holy Quran.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful. With the grace of Allah, we began a brief commentary of Quran. We got to chapter Nisa, the fourth chapter of Quran, which is revealed in Medina. It has 176 verses. Please listen to verse 12.
ولكم نصف ما ترك أزواجكم إن لم يكن لهن ولد فإن كان لهن ولد فلكم الربع مما تركن من بعد وصية يوصين بها أو دين ولهن الربع مما تركتم إن لم يكن لكم ولد فإن كان لكم ولد فلهن الثمن مما تركتم من بعد وصية توصون بها أو دين.
And they shall have the force of what you leave if you have no child. But if you have a child, then they shall have the eighth of what you have after payment of a bequest you may have bequeathed or a debt. In previous section, Allah talked and ordered about the inheritance that the men are going to get from their wives when they pass away. Allah said at the beginning of this verse that if your wives pass away and have no children from the same husband or previous husband, then the husband is going to get half of her property. But if the wife has a child or children from the same husband or from the previous one, the husband is going to get fourths. It means 1/4 from whatever she has. From this point, Allah is going to talk about the women, how much they are going to get from their husbands. Here also Allah says it depends that the husband has some children from the same wife or has some children from the previous wife. If the man doesn't have any children at all, then the wife is going to get fourths, 1/4 from his money, his property. But if he has a child, then the wife is going to get sumn. It means 1/8, eighths from whatever he left. Allah says, وَلَهُنَّ الرُّبُعُ مِمَّا تَرَكْتُمْ. وَلَهُنَّ, it means the wives are going to get, and they have a rub. A rub, it means 1/4, fourths. مِمَّا تَرَكْتُمْ, from whatever you left. إِن لَمْ يَكُنْ لَكُمْ وَلَدٍ. If you have no children, if you have no child from the same wife or from the previous one. If you have no children at all, then the wife is going to get 1/4, fourths. فَإِنْ كَانَ لَكُمْ وَلَدٌ. But if you have children, فَلَهُنَّ الثُّمُنُ. If you have children, then definitely the wives, the women are going to get eighths. It means 1/8 from whatever he left. Again, Allah repeats the same sentence that we have read in previous issues when Allah was talking about the inheritance that men are going to get from their wives. Allah says, but من بعد وصية توصون بها أو دين. But when we said fourths or eighths, 1/4 or 1/8, it is after the will. It means if they had a will, wasiyah, they had a bequest, and they wrote in it, or they said to some people that this amount of my money should be spent here and there, this is the will. After we spending, then we should divide it for the wife or husband, for both. It means after the husband, for example, had a will, and for example, he said that souls or 1/3 of my money should be spent in this position. For example, spend it for poor people, feed the poor people, or buy something and give it as a donation to this mosque, this Islamic institution, this hospital, this school. This is a will. That anybody can have a will until 1/3 of his money. So if the man has a, for example, will regarding to 1/3 of his money, he is going to leave $6,000, but for $2,000 he has a will that spend it for this hospital, buy something and donate to this school, for example. After paying and fulfilling his will and bequest, then $4,000 that left, we are going to divide it for the women. Then for $4,000, we say, okay, if the husband has a child or children from the same wife or previous one, the wife is going to get 1/8. 1/8 from $4,000. It means we can say $500. If the husband doesn't have child from the same wife or previous one, then the wife is going to get 1/4 of the money that he left. He left $4,000 and fourth is $1,000. So it depends that the husbands who passed away had a children or have a children or not. If he has, the wife is going to get 1/4, otherwise 1/4. But after fulfilling the will and following the will that he left. Or debt, dain, exactly the same. He didn't have a will, but he left a debt. He borrowed money and he couldn't pay it. We should give it to the people that he owed them first. For example, he owed $2,000 and he left $6,000. First, we should pay $2,000, then the rest $4,000 should be divided for the wives. If there are some children, of course, 1/4. If there are not children, for the husband who passed away, of course, if there are not children, 1/4. Fourth, it means from $4,000, $1,000. If he had the children from the same wife or previous one, then the wife is going to get some, which is 8, 1/8, which is $500. So we understand that the will and debt are the most important things. First, we should give the debt. We should follow exactly what a person had, either wife or husband or anybody else, about the will, in his will and bequest, what he had. First, we should follow it and practice it. Then we should divide it. If a person had the will and debt, first, we should practice the will and debt both. Then we should go and divide it. What about if a person has some money and he has a debt and he has a will? But his money is not enough for will and debt, both of them. What can we do? First, we should give it to the debt, then to the will. For example, if he had $2,000, only he left $2,000, and he owes $2,000, and he had a will for $2,000. He said $2,000, for example, of course, for $2,000 he had a will, for example. Definitely he cannot have a will for all his money. He could have a will from $2,000, only 1/3, like $600 and like $80, for example, because it should be 1/3 from $2,000. Okay, but he owes money also, $2,000. What should we do? We should give all his money to the debt first, then will. So the will is after debt. But it is mentioned in Quran at the beginning, min ba'de wasiyatin, after the will and bequest, tusuna biha aw dayn. It is mentioned at the beginning because it is very important, and many people will not practice the will, unfortunately. Not because it is more important. No, debt is more important. First the debt, then we should follow the will. Then we should follow the will. Thank you very much for watching. Inshallah, in next section, I'm going to read the rest of the verse. Thank you very much for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.